Number one ingredient is meat. Number one ingredient is meat. The USDA says that muscle meat is approximately 75% moisture. Kibble, on average, is only 10% moisture. So how much of that number one meat ingredient is actually left in the finished product? Hey friends, it's Justin Jericho from Catacles.com here with part 2 of my How to Read Cat Food Labels Properly series. This is all about the ingredients list, how it works, and what to avoid. If you haven't seen the first few videos in this series, I'll leave a link in the description below and in the top right corner throughout the video. Now, it's important to use the product name rules, the ingredients list, and the guaranteed analysis all in combination with each other when you're shopping for cat food. So AAFCO says that the ingredients list must be in predominance by weight. So the first ingredient listed on the label is the heaviest ingredient. Second is the second heaviest, third is the third heaviest, and so on. But the weight is based on when it's added to the product, not the finished product. The USDA says that muscle meat is 75% moisture, aka water. Kibble is cooked 3 times, goes through an extrusion process of very, very high temperatures, and then the finished product is only 10% moisture. So 75% of that first meat ingredient, muscle meat, is gone by the time the product hits the bag. Kibble also contains cereals like wheat and grains, flours and cornmeals. Those are all added already on a dry matter basis. Those weights go completely unchanged, while the muscle meat is drastically changed. This is why it's important to understand product name rules when you're reading the ingredients list. Another issue with meat ingredients is the quality that's used in commercial cat foods. Did you know that 4D meats, designated as dead, diseased, dying, and disabled, are allowed in cat food? On AAFCO's FAQ page under 4D meats, it says, meat and meat byproducts not directly suitable for animal food that are designated as 4D, dead, diseased, dying, and disabled. These are considered adulterated unless processed in a manner that rids them of disease-causing microorganisms prior to becoming animal feed. This is often done by rendering, which subjects the materials to overly heating and pressure to eliminate harmful bacteria. Okay, so cooking it to death kills the bacteria, but what about euthanasia drugs and prescription drugs that are in livestock animal systems? Now you know why pet food is recalled for euthanasia drugs. But guess what? 4D meats aren't allowed in raw pet food. Now let's talk about meat byproducts. AAFCO's definition of meat byproducts is the non-rendered clean parts other than meat derived from slaughtered mammals. It includes but is not limited to lungs, spleens, kidneys, brains, livers, blood, bone, partially defatted low-temperature fatty tissue, and stomachs and intestines freed of their contents. In theory, this would mean secreting organs. Secreting organs are super nutritious for cats because it contains amino acids, vitamins, and trace minerals. Here's another definition on AAFCO's website. It says, essentially, a byproduct is what is left over after the intended product has been made. In the case of animal feeds, including pet foods, it's often the excess materials left over after processing human foods. I went to my local grocery store and took these pictures. It's not a specialty butcher, just a chain supermarket. I found pork tails, beef heart, beef kidney, cow feet, lamb tongue, lamb kidney, turkey tails, lamb tongue, whole duck, pig ears, pig feet, and rabbits. So how do we know that byproducts in cat food are actually clean sources of organs? Here's a real-life example of 2 different cat foods. So the first brand lists chicken liver, chicken heart, chicken bone. The second example just lists meat byproducts and poultry byproducts. Do you see the difference? The first example has exact sources of each ingredient. Chicken liver, chicken heart. The second example is a complete mystery. Poultry byproducts. Okay, what poultry? Which byproducts? Meat byproducts. Meat could mean any type of meat. Byproducts could mean any type of byproducts. So why would some cat food brands list exact sources and other cat food brands will just use the general blanket terms. Here's AAFCO's definition for poultry byproduct: the non-rendered clean parts of carcasses of slaughtered poultry, such as heads, feet, and viscera, free from fecal content and foreign matter, except in such trace amounts as might occur unavoidably in good factory practice. Now, wild cats obviously consume the entire prey. That includes the fur, feathers, feet, all of the organs, all of the muscle meat, the head, the tails, everything. But the bulk of the diet is muscle meat. For example, one mouse is approximately 83 to 85% muscle meat. The remaining 15 or so percent is secreting organs and bones put together. Now let's talk about grains, cereals, and other plant-based ingredients in cat food. First of all, the National Research Council, the NRC, says that carbohydrates are not essential to the cat's diet. But carbohydrates are absolutely necessary in kibble, otherwise all of the ingredients would fall apart. By the way, I just decided I'm going to make a part 4 talking about label claims. Grain-free does not mean carb-free. Have you ever noticed that some of the similar ingredients are listed separately? Like in these two examples, the first one has dried peas, pea flour, and pea protein. In the second example, we see ground yellow corn and corn gluten meal. This is called ingredient splitting, and pet food manufacturers do it so that the meat stays in the number one spot. Now I'm going to bring in a veterinarian on what ingredients to avoid in pet food and why. Dr. Charles Kruger has on his website a list of the worst pet food ingredients. This list was created by him as well as a few other individuals. They analyzed about 448 popular pet foods sold in the US. This list is really long, so I'll leave a link in the description below, but here's a recap. The most used ingredient is salt, which was found in about 69% of pet food brands. They say that it's used as a preservative to cover up rancid meat, and it can cause kidney and heart disease and hypertension. Other ingredients to avoid include sugar in all forms because it leads to hyperactivity, ill health, and weight gain. Corn in all forms because it can contain deadly aflatoxin mold. It's also a cheap filler, and it can cause allergies and sugar imbalances. Wheat in all forms because it's another cheap filler, and it can cause arthritis, allergies, and digestive upset. Rice in all forms because, you guessed it, it's a cheap filler, and it can be harsh on the intestines, cause bowel distress. It's linked to diabetes, and it can include floor sweepings left over from the human food industry. Soy in all forms because it's a cheap filler, and it can include floor sweepings from the human food industry. It's harsh on the intestines, and it can cause bowel irritation. Also avoid colorings because most of those are carcinogenic. This list also includes non-descriptive meat ingredients that we talked about before, as well as chemical preservatives because those can also be carcinogenic. Chemical preservatives are also used to cover up rancid meat and fat, and others are used as mold and yeast inhibitors. So if you're seeing any of those ingredients, it's a good indication that there's poor quality ingredients in the food. Please check the link in the description below for the full list. Of course, if you don't know what anything is, look it up, or you can call the pet food manufacturer. Good luck with that. Now you might be saying, oh my gosh, Jess, literally all of those ingredients are in cat food products that I look at. Well, that's exactly why I feed Jericho a balanced raw diet. And I'll teach you all about that here on this channel. Give me a polydactyl thumbs up to show me that you're interested in learning more. Check the description below for how to transition cat food properly, as well as the best cat food brands that meet AAFCO standards. I'll see you in the next video where we talk about guaranteed analysis and how to convert it to a dry matter basis to compare foods properly. Thanks for watching.